couple of guys swinging today that won't make a lot of noise. They just show up, work hard, give us the best looks they can every week. All right. First one, Newcomer, Dane. 1, 2, 3. Second one, Skemp. Just comes and works his butts up out every day. Never complains. Just ask coach, what can I do to make the team better? 1, 2, 3. Another one of our only sophomores that sees a ton of playing time. Had a great game last week. Pancake blocks. Made a form tackle on an interception. WIAA. 1, 2, 3. And the last one, just for consistency, 17 tackles, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. Lubinsky. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Okay.
CRSN Cooley Golf Bowl pregame show continues with myself, Stan Evans, with head coach Tom Yashinsky. We are at the Rock. We're going to be looking at last week's game versus Lake Mill L-Cats, and we're also going to be looking at tonight's MVC opener against Logan Rangers. Every week we introduce you to one of our Onalaska players. This week, this is a man I've been wanting to meet for quite some time. We have Mr. Hank Olsen. Hank is number 24 for Onalaska, 6 foot.
Almost.
There you go, 175. He's senior. He is the starting cornerback. Also plays wide receiver. The interesting stat I found out, you're leading the team in receptions.
Oh, yeah.
11 receptions, 77 yards, leads the team. He also has 10 total tackles with 1 pick. Good job for you, Hank. First question I want to ask you is basically, are there any other extracurricular activities or sports that you participate in, and what are they?
I'm in basketball and track, and then Spanish club.
Spanish club?
Yeah.
There you go. You know a lot of Spanish?
No, not
Give
really.
us a couple of phrases.
Oh, I don't know much. Como está?
There you go. All right, any game day rituals that you go through, Hank?
No, I just listen to music before the game.
Well, you know what? All of us athletes listen to music. That's the best thing to get you motivated, get you going. One thing I want to know, Hank, what's your favorite high school class and why?
Oh, wow. Probably any science class, because I just learn something new every day.
Sir, you know, I liked science when I was in school too, especially when we got to dissect the frogs and everything like that. That was fun. Now, another thing, any college choices, any offers you've received at this point in time?
No offers, but I'm looking at Duluth and Drake and Concordia St. Paul.
There you go. Good job. Those are good schools, and I've actually been to all 3 of them. Favorite sports teams?
I like the Packers,
Okay.
the Bucks, and yeah, that's about it.
Any Wisconsin team, basically.
Yeah.
The Badgers,
Brewers.
too.
Yeah.
Brewers. Okay, there you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Hank Olsen. He'll be number 24. Keep an eye on him. You'll see him in the secondary, and you'll also see him at wideout every here and there. Hank, have a good the rest of the season. All right, bud?
Thank you.
Nice meeting you,
Nice
man.
to meet you.
Yeah, all righty. All right, now we get to go over here and we get to talk about, we got coach last week's game. Pretty tough one. At least you're 2-1 on the season. I have to say, a couple of penalties that cost you guys a couple of them. For me, the one that after looking at it over and over again, the last one to Savrin when he busts down the sidelines for 65 yards, and then Peterson gets called on the block in the back that was actually in the front from what I saw. What are your takes on the game? What are you looking at going forward?
You know, first thing we talked about on Monday was excuses don't win championships. So, you know, whether we want to say that, you know, miss some calls or whatnot, at the end of the day, you can't put yourself in a position for it to come down to a call here and there. You got to take care of business the entire 48 minutes, and quite frankly, we didn't show up the first 24 minutes, and that's on us. That's not on the officials. That's not on Lake Mills. That's a completely a controllable thing by us. So that's our fault. But, you know, they were a good team. They were a really good team that had some really quality players. They did some really good things that forced us to make some adjustments. We only had the ball for 13 snaps in the first half, which is, you know, like we like to get as many plays as possible. So when you only have 13 snaps, it took us a long time to find our rhythm and figure out what we want to do on offense. And by the time we did, you know, we were halfway through the fourth quarter. That's tough to do. So we got to get off the field on defense, and we got to capitalize when we do have the ball to make sure that we can score as many points as possible. We can't turn the ball over. You know, muff punt before the half and interception in the red zone.
Well, and for me, I look at it, early loss doesn't kill you. But now you got conference games coming up, and, you know, would you say these games become vital?
These are the most important because you got to win 3 of the 6 if you want to go to the playoffs. So, you know, every one is an important game. Every opponent we have from here on out, and we have the whole season, are really good teams and really well-coached teams. Our schedule is really tough. So we expect a really tough battle with Logan and every team that we face this year in conference. And we learned a lot from that loss. I think it was a humbling loss for our kids. I think it was one that, you know, may have been needed to kind of bring us back down to reality and check ourselves and realize that we need to show up every day at practice. We need to show up for the entire game, or good teams are going to do that to you.
Right. We always talk about, you know what, that loss, we'll learn something from. We always still want to walk out with that W, you know, most of the time.
Oh,
and stuff
absolutely.
like that.
I mean, you know, you don't ever want to lose.
Right, exactly.
But sometimes it's necessary for you to learn something. You learn oftentimes a lot more from a loss than you do from a win. If we make that field goal at the end of the game, maybe the reality check isn't there, and we're not as focused coming into this week.
Exactly. Now let's get past last week because ain't nothing you can do. You can't go back. All right, let's move forward. So we've got Logan Rangers coming up. First conference game of the season. They're 1-2. They lost 22-47 to Eau Claire Memorial at home. They won 26-20 against Eau Claire North at Eau Claire North, and then they lost last week to Sparta 39-16. We know about that Sparta team. We know how they can get up and down the field. Players we're going to be looking at, I guess, for Logan: quarterback Julian Erickson, running back Max Harsey,
yep.
And then wide receiver I seen Jack McHugh leading their team with 7 receptions, 108 yards, 1 TD. What are you looking at from the offensive and the defensive sides of the ball going up against Logan?
So, you know, from our side offensively, they've always given us fits. They're a really well-coached team. Brock Harney's their defensive coordinator, and I worked with him when I worked at Logan. He's a really good football coach, and they do a really good job of putting pressure on you, of mixing up their looks, and they bring guys from a lot of different places. And what you saw on film isn't necessarily what you're going to see from them. They always scheme really well. So they're a physical team that gets after you up front. Harsey is a good player. That 39, I think his last name's Kemp. I think it's Timmy Kemp. He's a really physical player. Jakai Dillard at corner is a very good cover corner. So they have some pretty talented kids over there. Defensively for us, you know, they got a new offense this year. They're running the wing T from the pistol, and a lot of deception, a lot of fakes, a lot of sweeps and things like that. So it's something that we have to be really disciplined in our reads. We can't be looking for the ball. If you're looking for the ball, you're going to be lost. And, you know, Max Harsey is a very physical runner. He's a downhill kid that'll run you over. He had a very nice game against Sparta. And, you know, they will throw it a little bit. That 83, I forgot his name, Jack something, but he's a tall 6'4". Yeah, McHugh. Yep. He's a tall kid that goes and gets the ball. So he's tough to defend. You know, we don't have a 6'4" kid to cover him. So you got to you got to get physical with them at the line and try not to let them get free.
Exactly.
So they're a good team, and they won. They won the North game on special teams, and the other two games they got beat because the other guys had a D1 player that took over late in the game. Wisniewski and then Loyal Crawford from Memorial.
Okay.
So those were games that they had really good schemes, but then they just got out talented by some D1 kids, and those kids showed why they were D1 prospects.
Okay. Well, hey, looking at we're going forward now. We're into conference play. We're bringing you homecoming night here in Onalaska. Logan Rangers 1-2 versus our Onalaska Hilltoppers 2-1. Coach, good luck tonight. Pound the rock. Homecoming night. Back to Rick and Scott in the booth for the call of tonight's game.